about the medical legal aspect of the injury. Last 4 lectures we have learned in detail about the mechanical injury, that is about the abrasion, contusion, laceration, incise wound, stab wound, firearm wound. After this, your theoretical concepts are got clear. Now, if your theoretical concept is clear, then it should be applied in a practical aspect. And today's lecture is related to your practical aspect. It is not only important for your second year university examination, but this topic is important related to your future practice. As a medical practitioner, as any other specialist, during your lifetime medical practice, you are going to come this incidence that you have to issue the injury certificate. So the injury certificate is day-to-day work of a medical practitioner. So how to write an injury certificate? And which injury is called as a simple injury? Which injury is called as a grievous injury? Today we are going to see. So, first we will revise the classification of the injury. Injuries are classified according to the causative agent. In that we have seen mechanical injury. In mechanical injury, abrasion, contusion, laceration, incise wound, stab wound, firearm wound. Then injuries caused thermal injuries, chemical injuries, and miscellaneous injury. Then another way of the classification is according to the manner, like a suicidal, homicidal, accidental, fabricated injury, defense injury. Another way of the classification of the injury is according to the death, that is antemortem injury, postmortem. And another way of classifying injury is according to the severity, and in that is the simple injury and the grievous injury. So today's lecture is very important. Which injury is called as a simple injury and which injury is called as a grievous injury? And why I am insisting on this? Because
sir, can you please check the settings?
Because it's on your report that.
Sir, can you please check the setting? Students are in waiting room, so please let them in.
Okay. Okay, I admitted.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So today we are going to in depth about which injury is called as a simple injury, which injury is called as a grievous injury. Why it's important? It is important because on your report, police officer is going to write a section under which that accused should be punished. So, if that injury is a simple injury, that accused has caused on a victim a simple injury, then the maximum punishment is up to only 3 years. It ranges from 1 to 3 years. And if you have written in your report that that person has sustained grievous injury, then maximum punishment ranges from 7 years up to life imprisonment. So on your opinion, which is given in your injury report, police officer or investigating officer is going to apply IPC. So your concept should be clear that this injury is simple and this injury is grievous. And in court also, you are going, if you have written simple injury, opposite lawyer is going to cross check you why you have written simple injury, why you have written grievous injury. So your knowledge, which injury is should call as a simple injury, which injury is called as a grievous injury, that should be clear. You should not be, you should be confident. You should not humble. In a court, you should be confident, and confidently you should say, sir, these are the findings. That's why I have written it as a grievous injury. And it's in your hand that accused should go to the under bar for 3 years or 7 years, because if you have written it is as a grievous injury, the minimum punishment for a grievous injury is 7 years and maximum is the life imprisonment. So have you understood the importance of the writing a correct writing of the injury certificate? Because on your opinion, that accused is going to be punished. So either he or she is going to punish up to 3 years if you have written it is simple injury, or if you have given a opinion that is the grievous injury, then minimum punishment is up to 7 years and up to the life imprisonment. So on your report, the judge is going to decide the punishment. Is it clear? Is it clear? So we'll again go. So we are again go into the basic. What is the definition of the injury? So legally 44 IPC, it is defined as any harm whatsoever caused illegally to person's body, mind, reputation and the property. That is the section 44 IPC. 319 IPC is the another viva question, that is hurt. Whoever causes bodily pain, disease or infirmity is said to cause hurt. And simple injury, in many books definition is not given, but you can say that simple injury is the injury which does not endanger the life and heals without formation of the scar. So that is the simple injury. So these three definitions should be clear. That is, under section 44 IPC, injury is defined as any harm whatsoever illegally caused to any person in body, mind, reputation or the property. Second, 319 IPC, hurt whoever causes bodily pain, disease or infirmity is said to cause hurt. And simple injury, injury which does not injure the life and heals without formation of the scar, is known as a simple injury. Then important short note in your university examination, also your conceptual clearance about which injury is called as a grievous injury. So grievous injury is defined or it is enumerated under the section 320 of the Indian Penal Code. So what is 320 Indian Penal Code? 320 Indian Penal Code defines what are the different types of the injury which are called as the grievous injury. So there are 8 types of the injuries which are included as a grievous injury, and if that the injury sustained by that person does not come or does not fit in a criteria of these 8 injury, this injury is labeled as a simple injury. If it fits into these whatever I am going to enumerate 8 things, if that injury fits in that 8 clauses, that injury is called as a grievous injury. And if that injury does not fit in that in the 320 IPC, then this injury is the simple injury. Is it clear? Then we'll see the first section. What is emasculation? Emasculation means loss of masculine power of the male. So the meaning of the emasculation is the loss of masculine power of male. And in rough language, we can say that he is not able to do the sexual intercourse. So the injuries which causes the loss of that person is unable to do the sexual intercourse, then it is known as emasculation. The scientific meaning of the emasculation is the loss of masculine power of the male. means is not able to do the sexual intercourse. So how this can be, what injuries causes that man is not able to do sexual intercourse? That is cutting of penis, cutting of both testes. That is and the third thing, if there is injury to the spinal cord at the level of the L2, L3, so that penis and the scrotum is innervated or nerve supply is of a lower lumbal region, so that with that person is no nerve supply, so no erection, and if there is no erection, there is no intercourse. So that is the emasculation. Again, I will repeat, the emasculation is loss of masculine power of the male. Means he is not able to do the sexual intercourse. How it can happen? If there is cutting of penis, cutting of both testes. If one testis is there, then there is hormonal secretion and penis is there. Then sexual intercourse can be possible. So I am repeating the word. There are three conditions which causes the emasculation. First and foremost, cutting of the penis. So no penis, no intercourse. Cutting of both testes, not a single testis. So cutting of the both testes, no hormonal secretion, no erection. And third, there is the injury to the spinal cord at a lumbar vertebral level, pudendal nerve supplies the genitalia, and if there is no nerve supply, there is no erection, no sexual intercourse. That is all about the emasculation. Second is the permanent privation of sight of either eye. Permanent word is very important, and in a viva or you are under the anxiety or tension, many students are not able to tell the definition about the second you forget the word permanent. So permanent word is very important, because if there is some small injury to the eye, then for a temporary 1 day or 2 days you are not able to see, but after the treatment you are able to see, then it's not permanent in nature. So permanent privation means loss, permanent loss of sight of either eye, means the either of any eye there is permanent loss of sight, that comes under the grievous injury. So single eye loss, permanent loss of sight, it comes under the grievous injury. And both eyes, so yes, it is the type of grievous injury, but the permanent word is important. Now here also, if there is the corneal ulcer, and corneal ulcer, so if it is not treated, then the person is going to be permanently blind. And if it is treated and there is the corneal transplant, then what happens? That person regains the vision, but still it comes under the grievous injury. Even if that type of the injury, with the treatment, that person is going to regain the vision, but that person has caused the injury, which are going to lead the loss of the vision. So even if that condition is treatable, it comes under the grievous injury. So the permanent privation of sight of either eye, then permanent privation of hearing of either ear, that is also come under the grievous, third clause. So the first clause we have seen, that is the emasculation. Second clause, permanent privation of sight of either eye. Third clause is permanent privation of hearing of either ear. Same thing, if that thing is treatable, but that person has caused the injury which is going to lead a permanent loss of hearing, then it comes under the clause, that is the grievous hurt. Then privation of any member or joint. So privation of any member of the joint, that comes it is the fourth clause, means there is loss of finger, loss of hand, loss of leg, loss of thumb, like this. Any part, loss of any part of the body, that comes under the grievous. That is clause 4. Then clause 5. destruction or permanent impairment of powers of any member or joint. That is what happens. There is the injury. Then the injury is so severe. After that, the nerve supply, and there is the also muscle injury. That part is there in the body, but it is non-functioning. There is no nerve supply there. So that person, that part is there, but it is non-functioning. Then that is also come under the grievous hurt. Fourth clause is what? Fourth clause is that there is privation, loss of that member of joint. Means there is loss of thumb, loss of hand, like this. In the fifth clause, there the thumb is there, hand is there, but they are not functioning. Destruction is so severe that it is present in the body, but there is no nerve supply, no muscle, so that part is not active. It has lost its function. So that fifth clause also comes under the grievous hurt. Then sixth is the permanent disfigurement of head or face. So there is scar mark on the face. It gives the permanent disfigurement of the head and face. So that is the thing. Even there is the, if that woman is old woman and already there are different creases on her face, still she is lady, she has her dignity, although she is old. And if that injury is going to cause a scar on her face or neck or the head, then it comes under the grievous injury. Fracture or dislocation of bone or tooth, it is the self-explanatory. Fracture or even a hairline fracture or dislocation of a tooth, it comes under the grievous hurt. So many times, so in a anger, many times what happens, the person gives a fist on the mouth, and what happens with a small this one force only, there is dislocation of the tooth or there is fall of the tooth, then it comes as a grievous injury. And that person can go to under bar for 7 years because it's the grievous injury. So many times you see the police officer, they never beat on the face, they beat the below legs. Why? That's the reason. If there is if you give fist on the face, then there is a chances of the dislocation, and that comes under the grievous injury. Then the eighth, any hurt, it's a very important, which endangers the life or which causes a sufferer to be get admitted in a hospital for the 20 days. That is it comes under the grievous hurt. But only admission for the 20 days, it's not come under the grievous hurt, because any person can give that doctor that I want to admit and give the certificate of the grievous hurt. It's not valid. Next, that during these 20 days, he should severely suffering from severe body pain or unable to follow his ordinary pursuit. Means he is suffering so much pain that he is not able to get out of his bed, go to toilet, go to his job. That kind of the injury, that comes under the grievous injury. Only merely getting admitted in the hospital, it's not at all grievous injury. So injury which endangers the life, or the person get admitted in a hospital for 20 days, and during this hospitalization for the 20 days, he is suffering from severely bodily pain, and that pain is so severe that he is not able to go to his job or go to for his routine activities like going for bath, toilet. So that type of the injury comes under the grievous injury. Is it clear? So these 8 clauses, if the injury caused by the person fits under these 8 clauses, then only that injury is called as a grievous injury. If does not fit in these 8 clauses, then this injury is labeled as a simple injury. Is it clear? Your concepts got clear? So again I will repeat, what are the things which comes under the 320 IPC? First clause of a 320 IPC is the emasculation. Emasculation means loss of masculine power of the male. So loss of masculine power of the man is known as the emasculation. In rough language, he is not able to do the sexual intercourse. What are the things which lead to emasculation? First and foremost, cutting of a penis. Second, cutting of a both testes. And the viva question asked to the student is that the penis is there, both testes are there, still emasculation or loss of he is not able to do sexual. Is it possible? Yes. Your answer should be yes. Because if there is the injury to the lower spinal cord, that is to the L2, L3 level, pudendal nerve gets the damage, there is no nerve supply. So no nerve supply, no erection, no sexual intercourse. That is emasculation. Second clause is the permanent privation of the sight of either ear, even if that type of the injury is treatable. And if it is not, if without treatment is going to give a loss of permanent blindness, then it comes under the grievous injury. Third, same permanent privation of the hearing of the either ear. It is also same self-explanatory. Fourth is the privation of any member or joint, means loss of thumb, loss of hand, loss of leg. So any part or any member of the joint, if there is loss, then it comes under the section grievous under. That is the fourth clause of the grievous hurt. Fifth is the loss, destruction or permanent impairing of power of any member of joint, means that part of the body is there, that is hand is there, finger is there in that case, but it is not functioning, means there is no nerve supply, there is severe damage of the muscle, then it comes under the grievous hurt. Sixth is the permanent disfigurement of head or face. So there is the injury on the head or face, it gives the ugly scar on the face, then it comes under the grievous hurt. If the examiner uses his sense of humor and asks that which actress you like, you say you like Kareena Kapoor, and if that examiner say that if she there is loss of hair, means she becomes the bald, then does it come under the permanent disfigurement of the head or face, or is it grievous injury? Then your answer should be, what is your answer? Then it's the tricky question. If you say yes, then under sixth clause that the hairs are going to appear, so it's not permanent disfigure, so no. But if you say yes, it is also correct, because under the eighth clause her work is what, that she has to do the acting, and if he is not able to, she is not able to do her acting for the 20 days, then your answer grievous hurt, answer yes, 8. So you should be smart at that time while you are explaining that if your word, if you are saying no, then under 6th clause it's no, because hairs are going to regrow, and if you are saying yes, you should say that it comes under the 8th clause, then that 20 days she is not able to join her job, then it comes yes, like that is the part of the, if you are going to give a good answer, then you will ask. Then 7 is the fracture or dislocation of bone or tooth, it is again self-explanatory. And 8 is any hurt which endangers the life or which causes the sufferer to be during the hospital for the 20 days or a severely bodily pain and unable to do his routine works for 20 days. Again I am repeating, only admission for the 20 days in a hospital does not consider under the 8th clause. During these 20 days, he or she has to suffer so severely bodily pain that he or she is not able to do his or her routine work for the 20 days, or routine things like going to bath or taking bath or going for the toilet, like this. He or she is suffering so pain, they is not able to get from the bed for 20 days. Then only you can consider this injury under the clause 8 as a grievous injury. Is it clear? So if any injury fits under this 8th clause, then and then only you can label that injury as that injury is the grievous injury. Is it clear? Is it clear? So it's very important. Your concept should get clear. Now we'll see again how to write the injury certificate. So injury certificate is given like this to the, actually it's a spelling mistake. It is called as an injury report, not an injury certificate. There is difference between the certificate and the report. Certificate is given on the request of the patient, while the report is given from the request of the authority, like investigating police officer or judge. Then and then only you can give. So the example of the certificate are the medical fitness certificate, physical fitness certificate, sickness certificate. Example of the report: injury report, postmortem report, sexual assault report. These are the different types of the reports. So this is my mistake. It should be injury report. So when any police officer requests you, then you have to write like this to the investigating officer. It's the example of our college, that is police station, MIDC Ahmednagar. You have to write a reference letter of his request. Then you have to write like this: sir, I am forwarding here with the report examination, name of the injured Ramesh Patil, son of Nana Sahib Patil, resident of Ganesh apartment, flat number 134, MIDC Ahmednagar, and brought by police constable Tukaram Deshpande, buckle number 342. Like this you have to fill the information. Then consent of examining you have to की डॉक्टरांनी मला माझ्या जखमांची परीक्षा करण्यास मी डॉक्टरांना परवानगी देत आहोत. Like that you have to write in your local language, local language of the patient, and you have to take the signature like that. Then you have to write two identification mark like this: a black colored non-erupted non-hairy mole size 0.1 centimeter, means 1 mm into 1 mm, present over the back of the right hand. It lies 3 centimeter below right wrist joint, like this. Then scar mark 3 centimeter into 5 centimeter on dorsal of the left leg, 5 centimeter from shoulder joint, and 10 centimeter from the wrist joint. So you have to write the identification mark. I have told the importance of the identification mark in my identity lecture, because this case comes to the college in a court after 10 years. Then how you are going to recognize a person you have seen 10 years back? Then these identification marks are important. With seeing this identity, you are going to confirm, because the first question of a judge is that, doctor, are you recognizing this patient? Then your answer by seeing the identification mark, this person is this, like this. Then the other question and answer. The first question is like this. Then you have to write history, and in history always use the word alleged history of the assault by wooden rod and a knife in a morning 9:25 at L&T company, near the L&T company. So alleged, because we don't know if it's true or not. So you have to write the word alleged word. Then how to write? The certificate. So these are the format, serial number, nature of the injury, size of the injury, situation over the body, type of injury, kind of weapon, any age of injury, and lastly any remarks. So example, first injury, abrasion. I have told abrasion and contusion has only 2 dimensions, that is breadth and length. Then 3 centimeter into 2 centimeter, situation on right leg. Type of injury, simple. Kind of weapon, hard and blunt. Age as recent. Any remarks, need. Second injury, that is stab wound. Again, stab wound has 3 dimensions. Depth is there. That is length, breadth, and depth. I have written, and depth is always more. So 4 centimeter is length, 2 centimeter is breadth, and 5 centimeter is the depth. Where on abdomen, just above the umbilicus. Which type of the injury? Grievous. Kind of the weapon, sharp edge pointed weapon, recent. And remark USG abdomen. For why? Because after the USG, there is report of a USG abdomen. There is the bleeding that is the hemoperitoneum is seen, and there is the stab injury on a liver. So If you are seeing the writing opinion that is the grievous injury, the next question asked by a lawyer, why it is grievous injury? Your answer that when you are writing that injury is a grievous injury, it should fit in a 8 clauses which I have described thoroughly. So here you can say that I have written it as a grievous injury because under the clause 8, any injury which endangers the life is called as a grievous injury. Here what happened? There is the stab injury on abdomen, and with that there is the stab injury to the liver, and that's why there is the bleeding, hemoperitoneum is there. So if there is loss of blood, then it endangers the life. Person can go to the hemorrhagic shock, and with the hemorrhagic shock, death can occur. So if there is endangering of the life, then that comes under the grievous hurt. So like this, you have to give the explanation to the in a court. So what you have written, if it is written grievous, then you have to give the explanation. You have to define why you have written is grievous. And any injury which fits into the 8 clauses. What are these 8 clauses? Again, I will repeat. These are emasculation, permanent privation of sight of either eye, permanent privation of the hearing of either eye, ear, privation of any member of joint, destruction or permanent impairing of powers of any member of joint, permanent disfigurement of head or face, fracture or dislocation of bone or tooth, or any hurt which endangers the life or which causes the sufferer to get admitted in the hospital for 3 days, and in that he or she suffers severe bodily pain and unable to follow his or her routine pursuits like going to toilet, taking bath or going to job. So under these 8 clauses, if that injury fits into these 8 clauses, then it is said that the grievous injury. Like this, you have to write injury report to the investigating officer, then reference, then your introductory part, then consent. In the consent should be in a local language or mother tongue of the patient. Then you have to write identification mark. Then you have to write the history, and history use the word alleged history. Then like this, you have to make a table, nature of the injury, size of the injury, situation of the body, type of injury, kind of weapon, age of injury, and remark. I have enumerated 2 examples. First is of a simple injury and second is of the grievous injury. Then you have to write opinion. According to my opinion, injury number is simple and injury number 2 is grievous. And the police officer is the non-medico. So he will only read the as doctor has written simple, then he will apply the section of a simple injury, that is 319 section. And if you have written grievous, he will apply IPC 320. Why? Because the punishment of a simple injury, maximum punishment is 3 years, but punishment of a grievous injury is ranging from 7 years up to the life imprisonment. So like that, if you have written grievous, you will apply section 320 IPC and judge will punish him up to from 7 years up to the life imprisonment, depending upon the severity of other injuries. So it's on your report, and you should be careful writing it as a simple or grievous. And when you are written it grievous, you should be confident. You should give the reason why you have written the grievous injury. And after that, you have to write place, Ahmednagar, time, and then signature. After that, your degree, your registration number, your designation, that is the casualty medical officer, assistant professor, like this, whatever designation is there, you have to write. So 4 things. First, your name. First, you have to do signature. Below that, your name, your degree, your registration number, and 4th thing is this. So signature, your name, your registration number, your designation, like this should be written below all the certificates as well as that of the report. So it is injury report. Is it clear? And that's all about today's lecture. So again, I am repeating, when you are writing any injury, simple or grievous, your concept should get clear According to the 320 IPC, it is the Viva question as well as the short note come on a grievous hurt. So you have to write about the 320 IPC, you have to enumerate all clauses, that is emasculation, permanent privation of sight of either eye, permanent privation of hearing of either ear, privation or loss of any member of joint, permanent destruction or loss of function of any member of joint. Next is the permanent disfigurement of head and face. Next is the fracture or dislocation of any